The room goes quiet. You open your mouth and the wrong words spill out. A terrible silence, you freeze. Heat floods your neck and your cheeks burn like fire. You look down. You wish you could evaporate into thin air. Stop. You think you are weak. You think you are a social failure. You think this glowing red face is a punishment for your stupidity. Wrong. It is a masterpiece. In exactly 3 seconds, your body just executed a brilliant survival protocol. Let us rewind the tape. The moment those awkward words left your lips, your brain detected a massive threat. Not a physical predator, but a social one. Rejection. In a modern office, being laughed at just hurts your ego. But in a primitive tribe, being exiled meant certain death by starvation. Your nervous system does not know you are standing in a safe room with air conditioning. It only knows you just broke a critical social rule. It panics, and it takes away your control. You try to look cool. You try to fake a confident smile. You fail completely. Why does your body betray you like this? Your vagus nerve instantly hijacks your entire cardiovascular system. It forces the blood vessels in your face to expand violently. The capillaries burst with red heat, making your skin temperature spike. You cannot stop it. No matter how hard you try, you are entirely powerless against this biological takeover. This is the ultimate physical surrender. You think this uncontrollable blushing makes you look pathetic in front of your peers? You absolutely hate this loss of dignity. You punish yourself for not being smooth. But neuroscience reveals a completely different reality. This involuntary facial redness is not a system glitch. It is not a sign of cowardice. It is a highly sophisticated de-escalation weapon. Your body is physically waving a glowing white flag to the entire tribe. It silently screams that you acknowledge your mistake. It physically proves you are not a sociopathic threat. It actually forces the surrounding brains to forgive you, even before they can logically process what you just said. You are not failing at communication today. Your 3 million-year-old hardware is actively saving your life. And what happens next inside your skull is even more astonishing. You lock yourself inside a bathroom stall, analyzing the hot red flush still clinging to your skin. You ask yourself brutal questions. Why am I so weak? Why do I lack social grace? Why cannot I just be smooth like everyone else? Society has trained you to believe that a flawless performance is the baseline for a healthy personality. Self-help gurus command you to suppress your nerves. They are feeding you a toxic lie. This relentless demand for social perfection is a neurological poison. It assumes your brain is a computer you can reprogram with daily affirmations. You are not a machine. You are an organism carrying 3 million years of survival software, and right now, that software is executing a flawless defensive maneuver. Welcome to the NeuroLab. Let us surgically dissect what happened when your face ignited. In 1994, behavioral neuroscientist Dr. Stephen Porges published a framework that changes everything, the polyvagal theory. He mapped out how your autonomic nervous system scans the environment for danger at a subconscious level. When you made that awkward mistake, your sensory organs fed a data spike into your amygdala. The amygdala, acting as your traumatized biological bodyguard, instantly flagged that minor awkwardness as a severe, life-threatening emergency. In the ancient wilderness, losing your social standing meant getting kicked out of the tribe, which equaled a freezing death in the dark. Your primitive brain does not care that you are standing in a safe office. It only cares about keeping your heart beating. So it initiates an extreme physiological override. It brutally bypasses your logical prefrontal cortex. You think your sudden inability to speak is a sign of low intelligence? Let us run a controlled variable test. When you are alone under a shower, you can deliver a brilliant speech with the eloquence of a lawyer. But in front of a judging crowd, your vocabulary evaporates. The changing variable is not your intelligence. The only variable is the threat level perceived by your nervous system. When the amygdala detects social danger, it restricts oxygen to the cognitive centers of your brain. It literally unplugs your speech processing areas to hoard energy for a physical escape. You are not stupid. Your biological architecture is simply prioritizing survival over articulation. But what about the humiliating blushing? Why does your vagus nerve aggressively force the capillaries in your cheeks to dilate so violently? This is where the biological magic happens. Society arrogantly labels blushing as a pathetic display of vulnerability. Evolutionary biology formally recognizes it as a masterpiece of social appeasement. By flooding your face with visible heat, your vagus nerve transmits an involuntary, unfakeable signal of physical submission to the dominant figures. It is a brilliant evolutionary mechanism designed to instantly neutralize incoming aggression. The red glow silently communicates that you recognize the social error and that you pose zero threat to the hierarchy. No healthy human brain would ever allow you to remain perfectly smooth in a moment of perceived tribal danger. That awkward blushing is your nervous system throwing itself on a live grenade to protect your existence. This reaction is not a glitch in your personality. It is a profound, life-saving feature, and what this means for your everyday life is even more shocking. But the awkwardness you feel right now is only the surface layer. What your brain is actually executing behind the scenes is far more spectacular. Every time you drop your gaze, every time you stutter over a simple introduction, every time you feel that humiliating heat spread across your face in a crowded room, you tell yourself you are a failure. You tell yourself you are fundamentally broken. Society tells you that confidence is the only valid currency. Modern corporate culture demands that you act like a flawless networking machine. It forces you to maintain dominant eye contact at all times. It forces you to project unwavering certainty even when you are terrified. It insists that any display of nervous hesitation is a fatal flaw. This toxic social standard is completely detached from biological reality. It is an artificial construct designed to optimize productivity rather than human connection. Let us pull the camera back from your fluorescent-lit office. Let us rewind the evolutionary clock exactly 300,000 years. You are not a modern employee right now. You are a vulnerable hominid navigating the brutal and blood-soaked hierarchy of a primitive hunter-gatherer tribe. In that unforgiving environment, your survival did not depend on how smoothly you could deliver a speech or how confidently you could command a room. It depended entirely on your ability to remain integrated within the group. Isolation meant absolute death. If you accidentally challenged the alpha members of your tribe or broke a sacred social protocol, you did not just get a bad performance review. You were physically exiled into the freezing night. You were left out in the dark to be torn apart by apex predators. You desperately needed a biological fail-safe mechanism. You needed a way to instantly diffuse social tension before it escalated into lethal violence. Evolution gave you a masterpiece of self-preservation. In 2009, evolutionary psychologist Dr. Ray Crozier published a groundbreaking analysis on the human blush. He proved that this fiery red reaction is a uniquely human trait. No other primate on the planet possesses this specific cardiovascular appeasement display. When you say the wrong thing to your boss today, your vagus nerve does not care about your corporate career trajectory. It only recognizes a dominant threat to your tribal status. In less than 0.2 seconds, it actively overrides your conscious will. It forces the tiny blood vessels in your face to expand. It pumps a surge of hot blood to your cheeks and neck to create a highly visible signal of submission. This physical display carries the immense weight of 300,000 years of evolutionary survival. It is the ultimate biological white flag. The redness visibly proves that you possess a sophisticated moral and social awareness. It physically proves that you understand the exact social rules you just broke. By involuntarily exposing your vulnerability, your body is doing something incredibly manipulative and brilliant. It triggers an automatic empathy response in the brains of the people watching you. You're literally hacking their amygdala. You are forcing their neurochemistry to downregulate their aggression and replace it with tribal forgiveness. The tragedy of your daily life is that you are running this magnificent ancient software in the wrong era. Your nervous system is perfectly designed to stop a tribal execution. Today, it fires off that exact same high-voltage survival protocol just because you replied all to a company email by mistake. The true antagonist here is not your lack of confidence. The enemy is an industrialized society that demands you override your most brilliant survival instincts for the sake of corporate smoothness. You are demanding that your complex nervous system forget 3 million years of successful evolution just to look cool at a networking event. It is biologically impossible. Your body would rather let you suffer a fleeting moment of acute social embarrassment than risk your absolute banishment from the human race. It continuously calculates the statistical odds of your survival. It rigidly decides that looking slightly awkward in a meeting is a completely fair price to pay to keep you alive and safe. So you blush, you stutter, you look down, you endure the burning heat on your skin. But you are never malfunctioning. You lie awake in the dark replaying the exact moment your face turned violently red. You remember the suffocating heat, the awkward silence, the exact way everyone looked at you in that conference room. You let the shame completely consume you. You tell yourself that you are incredibly weak, that you are emotionally fragile, that you are fundamentally broken. You think you are completely unfit for the modern professional world because you cannot even manage to control your own blood circulation. You aggressively judge yourself for lacking the relentless alpha confidence that society constantly glorifies. You obsess over how utterly pathetic you must have looked to your boss, to your ambitious colleagues, to every single person who witnessed your sudden physiological collapse. You wrongly assume they are all actively remembering your failure, saving it in their memory banks, and secretly judging your chronic incompetence. You build a massive, inescapable mental court case against your own personality, overanalyzing every stutter, every downward glance, every tiny nervous twitch, piling on the guilt until your chest actually feels tight and your breathing becomes dangerously shallow. You are literally drowning in the toxic illusion of social perfection. You are suffocating under the impossible demand to be a flawless, frictionless human machine that never once shows a single sign of vulnerability. You unfairly demand absolute neurological control in an artificial environment that is constantly bombarding your senses with unnatural digital pressure, artificial lighting, and insanely complex social hierarchies that your ancient brain cannot process. You treat your own body like a defective enemy. Stop torturing your mind. Drop the judgment. Here is the absolute biological truth. Your nervous system simply pulled the emergency brake. It shut down your fragile ego to save your actual life. You are not a coward. You did not fail. That glowing red skin was a brilliant, impenetrable shield. When you felt that intense heat rising in your neck, your vagus nerve was successfully executing a supreme de-escalation strategy. It completely neutralized the threat of tribal rejection by forcing you to display honest, undeniable submission. Your body willingly sacrificed your temporary social pride to guarantee your long-term physical survival within the human pack. It calculated the variables and chose to make you look slightly foolish so you would never be perceived as a dangerous, arrogant threat to the group dynamic. This is the paradoxical brilliance of the human organism. The very physical reaction you deeply despise is the exact defense mechanism that has kept your ancestors alive for hundreds of thousands of years. Evolution does not care about your polished personal brand. It does not care about your corporate networking skills. It only cares about keeping you integrated, protected, and breathing. The sudden redness on your cheeks is not a miserable badge of shame. It is a biological medal of honor. It is the visible, undeniable proof that you belong to a highly evolved, deeply empathetic species that actively uses physical vulnerability to maintain tribal peace. Every time you blush, your body is loudly declaring your raw humanity to the cold world. It shows you care deeply. It shows you are emotionally connected. It shows your internal survival radar is functioning perfectly. So the next time you feel the devastating rush of heat rising to your cheeks, the next time you find yourself stumbling over a basic sentence, the next time you lose complete control of your facial capillaries in a room full of staring colleagues, do not look down. Do not aggressively curse your own nervous system. Do not falsely label yourself as a broken, socially inadequate human being. Let the red heat spread. Breathe into it. Understand exactly what is happening beneath your skin. Your body is not betraying your professional ambitions. It is not punishing you for making a mistake. It is deploying a 3 million-year-old survival algorithm. It is actively throwing a protective shield over your vulnerable existence. It is fiercely negotiating for your absolute safety within the human pack. You cannot reprogram this magnificent ancient architecture with cheap daily affirmations or toxic positive thinking. You cannot bully your vagus nerve into submission. But you do hold one supreme power. You have the absolute freedom to choose your internal response after the panic subsides. You can choose to stop being your own worst enemy. You can choose to dismantle the harsh, artificial expectations of a modern society that demands you act like a flawless machine. A machine never blushes. A machine never stutters. A machine never feels the terror of rejection. But you do. And that raw, uncontrollable physical friction is the exact mechanism that proves your profound connection to the rest of humanity. Your awkwardness is your authenticity. Your physical discomfort is your biological loyalty. Your blushing face is the quiet, undeniable roar of a nervous system that refuses to let you die. You are perfectly designed. You are functioning exactly as nature intended. Your body is fighting a relentless war to keep you safe. Be grateful for the fire in your cheeks. It means you are alive.